And there go the ads. Sorry about that, y'all. That's a little bit my fault. Welcome in, everybody. I see Simile popping in with first in the check-in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I am able to run the ads manually, like while it's still counting down before the 3-minute mark, so that they can be done by the time my countdown timer is done, and I missed it. And that was entirely my fault. And once that countdown timer that it shows me hits 0, I can't manually run the ads until after the finish. So I'm sitting here waiting for when Twitch says that they actually start versus when they actually start, which decided to take a full minute longer this time. But we're here. Hello, we're live. Satisfactory Day. It's been a while. It's 17 days since last incident. I missed my little world over here. So, the last thing we were working on was turbo fuel. And... no, actually, the last thing we were working on is... sand fluctuators. Which I think are still producing. They should be still producing. Yeah, I might have broken something. Let's go check on the sand fluctuators. That's concrete. One day we'll finish that. Look, it's working. What am I looking for? Is this what I'm looking for? I think this is what I'm looking for. I think that's it. Yeah, this is it. This is it. This is our sand fluctuator factory. That's not uploading to the Dimensional Depot. Now why would that not be uploading to the Dimensional Depot? Okay, that's an easy fix. We're good. That's fine. So yeah, we have those. Those are the last remaining material required for dimensional depots outside the Mercer spheres, which we have to collect manually. So now, after collecting enough Mercer spheres to create the dimensional depots that we need, we can just plop down dimensional depots, and we'll be good. Speaking of, how many Mercer spheres do we have on hand? 2! It's not many. Certainly not enough for this project that we're working on, but it's alright. Eventually we'll go out and get more. Get up. Get up. We don't need to know how to drive, we just need to know how to flip the vehicle back over. Spied her. That's in the way. I wish they would let us, blow these up with Nobelisks without having to collect all the stuff in them. It's not like it's not renewable. Alright, what we're working on is out here. And what I completely failed to do was grab some concrete, which is... is it important to keep stuff from the headbutt guys? So what you get from the hostile mobs, all of them drop remains, and those remains, regardless of the type of mod, gets converted into... Let's find it in the Codex. It gets converted into this alien protein. The alien protein can then, you can do a couple things with it. You can turn it into biomass, which you get a great rate out of it. 1 turns into 100. Back to the alien protein. But there are plenty of other ways to collect this, so I don't tend to use it that way. You can use inhalers, which I don't make use of just in general. I don't usually spend a whole lot of time healing once I get to the late game equipment. The really nice thing you get out of them is these alien DNA capsules, and when you sink these, let's see, let's put down an awesome sink. You can power it, that's fine. Yeah, so when you sink the alien DNA capsules, you see these increase in increments of 1,000. You get 1,000 points out of 1 alien DNA capsule. When you're first starting to get tickets, it only takes 1,000 for your first ticket, and these scale up separately from the rest of the materials. So you see this is going up. This is its own thing, completely unaffected. So the alien DNA capsules are a great way to get a lot of tickets fast, especially early on in the game. So we made it all the way here, and I realized I did not fill up on concrete, which I need to do, because we need a lot of concrete still. So all the way back we go. We'll fix that eventually. I promise, we won't leave it like that. Lily, since you're playing now, I feel like you can appreciate this a little more now. So Dimensional Depot, I explained it before, allows you to upload resources that you can easily access from here. So like as an example, my iron rebar is being uploaded. I can easily download it here. So as I'm running out, I can just refill without having to go all the way back to a storage container. As well as if you're in build mode, you see the copper wire there is purple. That's because when I build, it's going to pull from the Dimensional Depot since I don't have any in my inventory. So it saves you from having to fill your inventory up with a bunch of stuff as you're trying to build. When you're trying to set up these early factories and you're in this, you're sticking around in this singular area, that's not as big of a necessity because it's relatively easy to just move over to your factory and collect the stuff out of it. But as things start to get more complex, as you start to get more advanced recipes, it allows you to have these big travels without having to worry about constantly going back and forth for materials unless you're using a ton of a material. So let me drop this as well to show you this. This is all coming from the Alien Tech branch. And you see, when you first get the Dimensional Depot, you've got a 15 per minute upload rate, and a 1 stack upload storage, and each of these upgrades is going to increase that. So you can get up to 5 stacks and up to 240 per minute. Which, very much worth it to progress that. But even with all that, when it comes to concrete, I still have to come back. One trick that people use, because each Dimensional Depot is, when you have peak upload speed, 240 per minute upload rate. Let me come down here. Welcome, main cat. Thank you for the lurk. I hope you're doing well. So this one will upload 240 per minute. If I were to hook up a second one and connect it, that second one will be another 240 per minute. So a lot of people will do multiple Dimensional Depots on the concrete, so they get faster rates out of it, so they can easily replenish when they run out. Because we will burn through all of this. See what I mean? I'm running low on fuel, only had 45 left. So I just download a couple, that'll refill itself, because it's all automated, and I don't even have to worry about it. So yeah, that's what the Mercer Spheres are going to end up being good for you. It's their whole purpose. Found a new ore today. Which ore did you find? Caterium. Yes, Caterium is good for electronics. When you start working with circuit boards and computers, it's essential there. But early on, the most use you're going to get out of it is going to be AI limiters, which you need for the smart splitters. That's how we set up our overflow management. So when one of our storage containers fills up, the factory will continue producing, but send all of that to the Awesome Sink, where we're generating more tickets. And quartz, too. Yes, quartz is great for glass. You'll need that for windows, as well as signs and lights. And those are all mostly cosmetic. Very helpful for organization as far as the signs go. Yeah, I can show you what I'm doing with those over here. So like this over here is producing 5 different materials. And I've got 5 storage containers set up for them, so I can keep track of what's what. So if I need to come back here and grab any of this manually, I can see easily. I don't have to poke through every single container to find out what I'm looking for. And then you've got your lights. Oh, the lights do not require quartz. They do require Caterium, though. You can see that there. The signs, on the other hand, you can see the quartz crystal here. The larger ones require crystal oscillators, which you make from quartz crystals. Very helpful there. I did some planning work, and I have to pull up my planner again. And I discovered I have a bit of an issue. Is there a way to make your conveyor belts go longer? You really just keep... You just keep extending them. So, if this is my limit, I just build off of it and keep going. That's all there is to it. I'll try to space these, poles evenly, so they look nicer as we go along, but... No, the way to make them longer is to just keep building off of the last one. You think it doesn't like that it needs to go higher? I'm not sure exactly what you mean there, Lily. If you wanted to post a screenshot in the Discord, I could maybe take a look and see what it's doing for you. Yeah, so an issue that we've encountered is that we planned for 2,400 crude oil input in this factory. And I've got a few, like, side products that I want to get out of it. The Cluster Nobilis, Packaged Turbo Fuel, and Explosive Rebar. And in addition to that, it's going to produce some polymer resin and rubber for us, which we're mostly just going to sink. We've already got factory set up for that. And the problem is, this configuration that I have requires 1,240 coal. And my plan was to use these nodes over here. Which I've got 4 normals over here. At Mark II miners, that is a maximum of 300 per minute. Which gives me a total of 1,200 per minute. So that is 40 coal short on what we actually need. So we've got a problem. We've got a bottleneck for how much we're trying to input and how much we're trying to output. And that's a challenge I have to figure out how to work around. One potential solution could be to do what we did with others when we didn't have the throughput available, which is to set up the bottlenecked factory. So maybe I do it all at half speed under clock, and it's just ready for me to overclock to full speed, or to return the clock to full speed at the point when we have the belt throughput and the Mark III miners. That's gonna bottleneck our power from 40,000 megawatts to 20,000 megawatts. Which is still, compared to what we've already got here. Why don't I build my power poles closer? I've got one closer. I don't need to go all the way over here. It's still a massive upgrade to what we're already working with. Oops, that's not the right weapon. Take care of these guys real quick. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Welcome in, JJ. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Lily says when I get back on. Yep. Depending on when you get back on, I'm thinking I need to set up some channels in my Discord with different games that I play. So just do a quick check to see if we have a Satisfactory channel. Oh, like I showed Squid. I forget what I said. What did I show Squid? How do I have a map? So the map is M. And it does require an unlock. I'm not at the hub, so I can't take a look right away, but I believe it's one of the phase unlocks at the hub. Ah, yes. Yep, and we set it up early on for our iron factories, which many of them are still in the bottleneck clock speed, even though we have the equipment needed to bring them up to full speed. And that's just because we were dealing with a power overhead issue, and I haven't just taken the time on stream to go back and reconfigure them. But yeah, to get back to what we were working on here, it's gonna be making sure all our floors are built up.
Have a productive day.
Not have the music, two different types of music playing over each other. So we need 40 of these per 600 crude oil input. We've got 4 per floor, because we have a total of 2,400 crude oil that's coming in. So we need 10 total floors. We're almost there. We're gonna need an elevator here. Let's get the foundation set up for it, but we're not gonna build the elevator just yet. We should build the elevator. We are gonna build the elevator just yet. The strict height limit on these is going to work out to be a problem. That's fine. We'll fix that later. Doing well, JJ. How are you doing? So if this is logistics 9, this is production 9. This is going to give us logistics 10 and production 10. Do it from here. I'm good, glad to hear it. This will only be 3. I really don't need to do it that way. This is why we hooked up the elevator. We'll just use the elevator. AJ says I'll be back. I've got some other stuff to do. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate you being here. We have a 5th floor because it automatically creates a stop at the very top of where we put the elevator. I did. Yeah, it's not gonna work. We can't reach. We'll deal with that later. Foundations, get our half foundation. Turn the music off on this as well. There we go. A 14 by 14 platform. Somewhere where infinite soup would be very helpful. Alright, that's 410. We will need at least one more for... reducing the turbo fuel. Get up there. And this will hopefully put us up high enough to fix that last piece. Ah, see, I put that in the wrong spot. There it goes. There we go. That's better. Okay. Alright, let's see how many of these we could drop down before we run out of materials. When I started playing, and I saw the scale of what these ended up being, very first thought was, I gotta be doing something wrong, right? But, nope, you really do. You really do just build a ton of these things. You can overclock them, but... yeah, so there's the rubber running out. Only takes one floor's worth. That one's already built. Ah, right. Gotta get used to this. I've only been working with the one hot part for so long. doing copper for these based off of, like, in-house water plumbing, realistically, I don't think fuel pipelines are going to be made of copper. One, because the large ones that transport this much fuel, that's going to get very expensive. Copper is an expensive material. And two, because I don't know if petroleum, well, if oil and its derivatives, if they corrode copper. Squid, welcome in. Good to see ya. Hope you're doing well. Not so much math right now as it is just lots and lots of logistics. So many logistics. Part of the brain, indeed. Definitely not the whole brain. I had oat nog at the store. What is oat nog? Is that just, vegan eggnog? Yep. Okay. I don't know if I've ever had eggnog. Silk Snog is made with soy milk and is a bit better, but haven't seen it in a while. I've had Silk's soy milk, vegan milk, and I've found that it's not my preference. I tend to prefer rice milk because it still has that kind of sweet, creamy flavor that I know regular milk to have. I missed. 5. I think that's in the right spot. Yeah, it's in the right spot. Yeah, soy milk has kind of a sour taste to it, in my opinion, that just kind of reminds me of milk that has gone slightly off. So we got our problem here. How many of these are broken? Let's find out. Just the one. And it's the one that was here when we started the server. Is that why it's broken? I don't know. Okay, we're good. We'll start on this end. There it is. Lily says, oh, I just realized you can build so fast because it draws out the stuff you need from that storage. That's right. There is a check marks, by the way, when you get to unlock that to watch out for, which is take from inventory before depot. So where I have all this concrete right here, I want it to draw from my inventory first, so that way, actually, no. In this case, I do think I want it to draw from the, depot first. So normally I want to draw from inventory first. So like this 29 cable, I'd rather dump that out of my inventory instead of having to trash it or find a place to sink it. So we'll use it from inventory first and then from here. In the case of the concrete, if I have it draw from the depot before the inventory, it'll empty this before it starts using my large buffer from the inventory. No, I guess that'll just keep it empty until the end. So that doesn't make a difference. My thought was maybe once I drain the depot, it'll be pulling from my inventory and give the depot time to refill. But it's just going to pull from the depot as it's refilling and keep it down at 0, so it doesn't actually make a difference. So I recommend just keeping this checked. Take from inventory before depot. Lily says, green rice milk is all I use now. It's almost like regular milk, but even my kids like it better than their regular milk. Yeah, rice milk is very good. And I especially think that it is the correct choice with cereal. I mentioned soy milk. In my opinion, it has kind of a sour flavor that kind of reminds me of milk that's gone off. But even some of the other milks, like almond milk, when I've had with cereal, it kind of gives me that, I don't quite want to say flavor, but like that same feeling of like when you use 2% milk in your cereal in place of whole milk that you've been used to, where it makes it kind of feel like it's watered down. Rice milk is the only one that I haven't had that issue with. I don't remember the flavor of almond milk, but for some reason I get the sense that it's like that sourness of soy milk, but exaggerated. That might be wrong, though. Don't quote me on that. 100% almond milk is vegan, 2% milk. Squid says, I think of soy milk as more of an ingredient than a milk-forward thing. Oh, the soy milk nog was very good. Yeah, see, I'd have to have eggnog, actually drink eggnog for the first time to know what my opinions on which vegan eggnog, or, yeah, which vegan nog is the best. At least in terms of being an imitation. You know, which one just tastes the best subjectively is a completely different thing. Doesn't have to be in relation to anything. There is no best objective taste, in your opinion. I very much work with foods as in terms of, like, favorites. So, like, obviously I don't disagree with you that there is no best objectively, because it's all a matter of opinion. But it's in terms of, like, you know, this might be better for this might be better for that. Versus, when I say objective, I mean, like, well, this is just all around the best. There's no reason to use anything else. For myself. Lily says, do you draw up these plans before you do them? I do not. And that is maybe a bit of a shortcoming. That leads to burnout on my part. Some of these plans would probably be a lot easier if I drew them up first. But in this case, it's just, I work from squares. Squares fit nicely on here, I don't have to sit and fight with them. But that's also how we get parking garages. I work with what feels functional first, over what looks nice. Laura's checking in. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So in this case, it's easier for me to organize this by dividing these fuel-powered generators into 4s. Especially since... And we have 4 different crude oil nodes that are going to be supplying each of these, so I've got four sets of 4 over here. And then the logistics down here just feels easier to work with this way. Laura says, I am doing terrible. My life is over. Laura, what's going on? Actually, I am fabulous. Okay. We enjoy some friendly trolling here. Or it says I tried to play this the other day, but once I got in, I wasn't feeling it. I think once you start playing this game, you kind of start to realize right away that it is going to be a time suck once you get into it. Yeah, my experience, the first time I opened, like the very first time I opened it up, I probably spent a couple of minutes on it, and then felt a little overwhelmed, closed the game, and didn't touch it for like a couple weeks. But I'm also the type with more creative games, especially, well, sandbox games, just inherently are creative games. I have a habit of, like, reaching a block where I feel like I'm not really doing anything new with it. And then I end up feeling burnt out and stopping anyway. Squid says a lot of streams I saw with this game previously were more later games, so I had no reference for early game experience. Yeah, a lot of the ones that I pop into, they're like well beyond even where I am. I like to take my time with this because the designing these factories is my favorite part. And getting something that isn't just functional, but like easy to work with, easy to understand just by looking at it. Squid says, so I was taken off guard with what it actually looked like to start. Yep. Yeah, late game players, you're basically looking inside of closed up buildings for much of the time. Or they've got the environment so unrecognizable with all the foundations they've got put down. Very, very early on, I was looking at some of the world downloads that people had set up. One of them, I don't remember who it was. I don't know if I could find the world again if I was looking for it. But they had covered the entire map with Factory in a way that was not obscuring the natural environment, but highlighting specific features of it in small doses. And I really appreciated how they did that. I don't think I would ever develop the patience to get that into it, but... that's the appeal of sandbox games like this, right? Is when you have the creative ability to just do whatever you want. Oop, we got an ad break. Break time. We're just gonna hang out here until the ad is over. For those of you that can still hear me, of course, it is break time. Stand up, stretch, refresh your beverage, take a bio break, whatever you need to do, and see you when you get back. We're back. We get all 4 of them? I think we did. That's these. The giant dinosaur types are scary, and the flying ones too. So Laura, I'm assuming you're referring to... Let's see if we've got them nearby. I don't know if we can see them up here. But I believe what you're talking about, both of them are passive mobs. So we've got the space giraffe penguin tip whale thing, otherwise known as the bean, which is our bouncy boy. Yep, you can hop on their backs and they're bouncy. They just get in the way. They're not hostile. And then there's the big flying manta ray, which there's a spoiler if you can get on top of them. I won't spoil it here. Or do you mean the bird flowers, the green ones that are walking around on the ground but have wings? There are only 4 aggressive mobs in the game. They're only ever in the sky. So it's either the manta or it's something else that's kind of just an environmental creature. You can't actually interact with them in any way. I don't know if there is an official name for them. But if you're seeing multiples, it's probably the ambient creatures. But yeah, there are 4 aggressive mobs. You've got the hogs, which they're like the armored puppies. Not the orange ones, because those are actually puppies. But the hogs will charge at you. You've got the spitters, which they have faces kind of like the robot machine in the first Thor movie. You've got the stingers, which look like spiders, and then you've got the hatchers and the flying crabs that they spawn. Which just look like eggs. Giant eggs that are kind of stuck to the ground. We are too far away from anything for it to load, but there should be a couple of them down there somewhere. Those are the aggressive mobs. After the aggressive mobs, you've got a couple of mobs that can hurt you. One of them is the flowers that stand up and spit toxic gas if you get too close to them, and the other one is the beetles that are only in a couple of biomes that will just randomly release toxic gas. But the flowers don't move, so they're not really aggressive, they're just hostile, and the beetles, they aren't aggressive or hostile, they just kind of behave randomly. We are not producing motors fast enough. One more. One more. Yeah, that's gonna be a while. Alright, work on logistics and then come back up and take care of that. Hopefully we'll have enough motors by that point. And then I think we need to take a detour for a moment to fix our motor factory. Should be producing at the right efficiency, but we can double the throughput. So we're not waiting as long for the motors to produce. Says I'm so glad I caught this stream. Usually on my way to bed when you push stream on Fridays. Glad you're able to pop in. I've gotten a bit of feedback from people that, you know, they don't get a chance to watch because my regular weekend streams are, not really at a time that works for them. And I keep going back and forth on whether or not I want to push the time back. And I've been feeling, I was talking about, like, kind of trying to figure out if there's a better time that works for people, but I've been feeling kind of like I want to stick with this time. Because I think usually what it is people try to, plan stuff for during the day on their weekends. Because the feedback, I think, is coming mostly from people that are within, like, nearby as far as time zones. With the exception of a few people overseas that get the chance to pop in on occasion. If I push the time back any further, they're gonna be in bed. So I would have to go the other way for them. So I think I'm kind of in a sweet spot where, you know, the ability to pop in, even if it's only every once in a while, is there. And I kind of feel like I want to hold on to that. Alright, so if I look at motors right now, I've got 7 of 150. That's not enough to build any new ones. We're on floor 8. We've got 2 more floors of these to work on. Russ says I need to transfer my mix-it-up settings. I hope I get it right. One of these days, I need to, like, just do a sample of that with my Firebot and mix it up just to see how the transfer goes. So I feel prepared if I ever actually need to restore from a backup or quickly get another computer set up. So I might have tried to stream something a little lighter last weekend if I, felt like I could get OBS and mix it up set up without too much trouble. Alright, we're going back to Motor Factory. Put this off long enough. We're gonna finish it. We're gonna ramp up the production rate. Don't worry about that guy. He's fine. Are those the flying things you were talking about, Laura? Not the big guy, but the orange ones that were back there. I asked, and then I didn't see any more, like, clearly visible enough to really say for sure. So there's one big manta. They're usually solo. You don't usually see more than one of them at a time. I've got 16 tickets. I should probably do something with those, huh? Don't need all that coal. Yeah, it's a friend. And then we've got the beans. Space Giraffe, Penguin, Whale, tick things. They're bouncy. There is an achievement for bouncing on their backs. Alright, let's go fix motor. Be rude. You got a few ways. Sometimes you get lucky, and they just line up the right way. Later on, you can unlock the parachute, so you could go from a high height and, like, fly over them. You can just build up to them, and hope that they don't move too far. And then when you get far enough to unlock the jetpack, then you just jetpack up. So we're producing 70 per minute. We can easily get up to 140. We will need power shards for that. Over here, we're producing 200. Bringing this up to 400 to double the rate would require using the other node over here, which would be much more tricky. These are at 50% speed. Do I have a way up there? Yes. Storing MIU settings as a cakewalk. Good. These are at 83, so these would have to be overclocked. I don't know, is it worth it to ramp up production on this? I don't know that it really is. Oh, let's close this up. Big is too big. No, we're not going to use the new wall designs on this. This is a legacy design. fact, I think I'm not even going to try to go fancy with these. I think we're just going to make a parking garage. Not doing that. That cuts in 4s. It's fine. There we go. Alright. Got a door wall. Some stairs. He's okay, he's just startled. Don't need hand railing for less than 3 stairs. How are we getting up there? Could do something a little differently here. Yeah, this'll work. I'll do it this way. Foundations, half foundations. Alright, that's it. That's all we're doing. buildings that actually look like buildings feeding into a parking garage. You gotta park somewhere to get into these two buildings, right? Alright, 21 tickets. What are we spending these on? Let's see what we've got. For management, we are almost fully unlocked. We gotta unlock the Mark III power outlets. Come back to that later. All of our organization is unlocked. We've got some customizations to unlock. Those are usually last on my list, so let's check foundations, walls, and architecture first. All clear. 6, 12, 16, 21. That'll do it.
Decoration and organization go hand in hand. Fix it HQ custodian, I always say. Use of these customizer features does not guarantee an aesthetically pleasing or user-friendly factory. That's the part that requires knowledge and skill.
So 21 tickets will cover the rest of the unlocks. See how we're doing on motors. We could be doing better. That's not bad, though. Now we could definitely be doing a lot better. Maybe... Yeah, we've got at least 2. So we're gonna cheat. Oh. Hey, Jazz, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Nice try. There, so the 2 summer sloops in the assembler is going to double the output with the same material input. Yeah, I mean, that one I'm going to refund because I happened to look over at chat just in time. No, good Sam. Good streamer for keeping an eye on chat and making sure they didn't miss anything. That's why the sounds don't skip the reward request queue, so I can actually give you your channel points back when the timing just doesn't quite work out on those. These used to work so that when you had one cable split off into 2 like that, the direction you were looking is the direction that you didn't go. I think they tried to fix that somehow to make it, well, I was gonna say to make it a little more consistent. It was actually very consistent, but now it seems like there's no consistency. And sometimes it just takes the same direction every time, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it still works the old way. Gotta clean that up. Any of these elevators are gonna, well, all of these elevators actually are gonna end up getting rebuilt. So we can clean them up. Whoops, wrong one. Take that one instead. Oh, I just realized you're allowed to push all of the elevator buttons. They sure did set this up in a way that you can push all of the elevator buttons. Cable's not high enough. Go to the very top this time. No, you want this one. That's the one you want. There, travel to all the floors for me. No, that was the right floor. Was it? One below. This is the right floor. I don't think that alignment is right. Whoop. That's not right. Spot. Hey, it'll be the spot. Perfect. Late to the party, but smash all those elevator buttons. And then make things more difficult for myself to get back to my elevator. Just for the fun of it. You. Okay, logistics done. And somehow I accidentally sent the elevator all the way back down here for myself. I pushed all the buttons in the correct order, apparently. So many fuel power generators. There'll be 45 motors before we're able to build the last 3 on this floor. And we've got the next floor to do. The next floor will be the last one. For the generators themselves. Pushing them in the wrong order could open a gateway to an alternate dimension where we end up getting invaded by a race of higher intelligence beings that decimate our planet. Thank you for the warning, Laura. I'll take note of that. Keep that in mind. Certainly don't want to do that. And it says, oh, that's why global warming. I see. Laura is being very helpful today. Welcome in, Rena. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Do we have 30 more? We have 30 more exactly. This floor is done. No, it's not. We didn't connect these. Did we connect any of them? Yes, this floor is done. Now we need to do this floor, and I'm wondering how many motors we can manually craft. 150. Sure, let's do it. Squid says, I just got done with consoling Aki. Oh no, what's got Aki all upset? We got head pats for Aki. And it says, we're never done consoling Aki. You just tap the spacebar. If you hold it, then it will craft while you're holding. But if you just tap it, then it just goes. Yep. Very useful. That's how I'm able to sit and let this thing manually craft while I'm on break. Or not sit and let this manually craft while I'm on break. No setting, just by default. You just tap and it goes. watching something involve someone being abusive to another character, and then having a slight visceral reaction, and those things triggered Aki. She needs some consoling. Gotcha. She's okay now, that's good. The manual crafting does take a while. Got a rubber. Yo, we're out of rubber. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay. Alright. How can we occupy ourselves while we wait for that to restock? That's not what I'm looking for. I take motors, but not rubber. We'll need many of these as well. It's the same coast where you would wander off to. This isn't a coast, this is a crater. So this is a circular lake. We are out here on this side where this is... I do not see my hub. There it is. This is about where we start. This spot specifically is where we've been working. So you generally tend to go up this way. And this is where our coal is. No, this is where our coal is, because this is where our coal is here, too.
Thank you for exposing yourself to the soothing ambiance of a fix-it elevator today. I hope you feel refreshed.
Thank you, Ada. How rude, Squid. She can hear you. Typing is hard. Typing is impossible on mobile. Sometimes words are hard. And one of these days, y'all will find my exclamation words commands for when I say something wrong. I don't remember if that just spits out a message or if I have a counter attached to that. never? Alright, so what we need to do up here... we've gotta be able to produce the turbo fuel that we're sinking, that we're, burning. Turbo fuel is coming from 22.5. Oh, let's drop this down to 1. 1.2 to 1 ratio, so if we do 5 instead, it's a 6 to 5. And that is 4 compacted coal per minute for 5 turbo fuel per minute. How much do these burn per minute? Let's see. 7.5 per minute. 7.5 times 40. That is 300 turbo fuel per minute. Nope. Thank you for the hydrate, Squid. So we're burning 300 per minute, 100%, gets us 18.75. That is 16 refineries per column of turbo fuel here. What were you trying to redeem there, Squid? Get 8 on this. We need more than 8. There's no hogs up here. There isn't even a risk of them spawning up here. So that's half of what we need. We're gonna need 2 floors of refineries just for producing the turbo fuel. Think. Actually oversized here as well. Yeah, we're way oversized here, so this is over. It's taking more room than I need it to be able to take. Correct alignment. Hey! No! Power's fine. Leave it alone. Yeah, that's the alignment there. Gesture typing is a skill, but it's also very much dependent on how good the gesture typing driver is. And I have learned not to take for granted when a gesture typing driver is actually decent. So if we do these this way... that is enough space in between, okay. We don't have enough motors for all of these. still running into the same materials bottleneck. And then even after that, we still need another floor of these refineries. Y'all, this factory is too tall. I have a motor factory, it's just not producing fast enough. Or it hasn't been, and I'm using faster than it's producing, so I don't have the buffer on it. You can actually see all the stuff that we've built from here. Parking garages. Parking garages as far as the eye can see. Which direction are they facing? Correct direction. Okay. Nope, ad's starting up. Is 15 per minute coming in, so that's all. Oh. It's all Mark 1. We've got these. I'm gonna switch to manually crafting in a moment for the break. Can't manually craft rubber, but we can manually craft motors. Yeah, that's manageable. Take a break. We'll be back in a bit. We're back. How y'all doing? Get your brakes in. Let's make some fuel power generators. Get a few of these out. Alright, we're at rubber again. Hi. Alright, so we already know that we need at least 2 more floors. And we say 2 because we need one for another floor of turbo fuel production. But we also need a floor of the regular fuel production before that. If we take a look at these refineries, we need 22.5 fuel to make that much turbo fuel. 18.75 times 16, that was 300. And 300 divided by 22.5 is 13.3, so we need 16 of the regular fuel power generators as well. This is really working out to be a very ambitious project here. And I'm not entirely confident we're going to have enough fuel to start this up. Or not have enough power to start this up the first time. Would have been better if we made these wider. So we were fitting 16 per floor for each pipeline down. Kind of what we had the last time we tried to do this design. Maybe a little late to try to change the design now. A lot of dismantling we'd have to do. Alright, we're getting some significant build lag. We're gonna save and restart. Fix our frame drops. look, music picked up where we left off. Not for... What am I planning, Doc? So we're making 1,200 turbo fuel per minute. We are not currently outputting any of that to package turbo fuel. Jazz is bored and not home. I'm sorry to hear that, Jazz. Let's see, what do we got? Sorry, y'all, I know we're idle for a moment here. If we cut an entire floor of these in favor of using that packaged turbo, or using that turbo fuel for packaged turbo fuel, we get 30 per minute off of each one, which gives us a grand total of 120 per minute, which is way more packaged fuel than we could ever need. Alternatively, for each one of these, we could replace one fuel power generator at the bottom floor with a packager and get a grand total of 30 per minute, which will fill the buffer nicely and be plenty for our uses. We'll end up we'll direct that to the truck stops first to fill their fuel buffers. There's no way those truck stops will use that much turbo fuel. And then send the overflow into storage and a dimensional depot. And we'll have that just on hand. I think that's what we'll do. So that leaves us 1,170 turbo fuel per minute. That is 40 fuel power generators minus 1, that's 39. So if these are producing 250 each, that's still 9,750, which is still 39,000 megawatts. So that just cuts 1,000 off of that. And I think that's fine. Yeah, okay, so that saves me having to reconfigure anything as far as the packaged turbo fuel goes. And also confirms that I can keep going with what I'm working on now. How much rubber do we have in storage? Is that enough? That's not enough. It's getting close, but it's not enough. Do y'all not do math in your spare time on the weekends? Is that just a me thing? Here, Lily, I'll drop a link to this. This is something that you should... I would recommend using more late game after you've gotten used to setting up efficiency early game. But this is a great tool that I use as far as planning goes. It will do a lot of the math for you. Yep, we're on auto. Satisfactory Tools is the one I recommend. That one's just going to be kind of a text layout of what you're producing. Some images to support it. The other one that's a little easier to work with, as far as like what you're seeing, mapping it out, as well as it includes a world map that you can work with, is this one. But I avoid this one when I can because it is loaded with advertisements. And I find it to be a very frustrating experience most of the time. I can't count it out because it's still a very powerful tool, and that map, as far as I can tell, doesn't exist anywhere else. But that's where Satisfactory Tools is my preference as far as the actual factory planning. Oh, it's already there. You don't need to do that. I also keep forgetting that I can save a step by doing the pipes instead of, we can just do it that way. That puts the pipes on there for us. Wonder, if I do it this way, will that save us a little bit of time here? Can I snap this? Nope. Alright. Yeah, for many of the ads on that site, I was coping until the point where it started putting on a pop-up and says, to continue, please watch a 30-second ad. I'm like, no, I'm done. Eh? That's not right. It says, luckily I can still sort of see things when I'm building, if that makes sense, just without a sort of reference in some way the math doesn't always work for me. Yeah, I want to try to work out techniques for minimizing the amount of math that you actually have to calculate in your head. Especially minimizing the amount of math that you have to calculate on pen and paper. Because, you know, who's bringing out a notebook while they're playing this game? Actually, surprisingly quite a few people, but... It is a purposeful goal of mine to try to make this game seem a little more accessible. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can't do it. Not right away. The planners are good, but my hope is to get to a point where I can make sense of these recipes in a way that I don't even have to pull the planner up anymore. I can just mock up a few buildings in a couple of spots and just see what I need from there. You're almost there. There we go. That is all the fuel power generators. They're up. They're good. They're done. It was a little tedious, but we got there. It says, yeah, I sort of put pieces down so I can see how it works, then how it will work, then relocate things, I figure out the best way for it. Yep. Honestly, just building like a one machine to one item chain is kind of my favorite way to go about it. I mean, for something like this, you can do... Got your first refinery that's producing the regular fuel from, directly from the oil. That's your best fuel rate. And have the next one that's making turbo fuel. And you can see 1.8 crude oil makes 1.2 fuel. And 1.2 fuel makes 1 turbo fuel. So if you're trying to figure out how to make 300 turbo fuel, you can just pop up your little calculator here. And find out you need 540 oil to make that 1.2, or to make that 1 turbo fuel. Or to make that 300 turbo fuel. Weak words. It's fine. To be here. you want it to line up there. Yeah, that's in line. Yeah, that's what we want. Did it already? We did not. So these are all already configured to turbo. So they're inputting fuel and compact coal, and they're just outputting turbo fuel. We need... we set this up to go all the way up. We're not going to use it that way. is not snapping. Alright, we're gonna split those up. And the reason for that is we're gonna have regular fuel loading in up top here, and turbo fuel loading in at the bottom. Want to center these. This. How far out did I go? Not where I want it to be. Let's push this all the way back. See how that lines up between those two. That looks good. And just like that. Okay. Good. And just like that. And how much are these taking in? No way this is reaching the 300 meter cubed capacity of these pipes. 22.5, so 8 of these is 45, 90, 180. So no, it's not. Curve. Looks good. We'll do that as a noodle, so let's get these done first. Ah, I did not place these. And that's how that's gonna look. Take these ones. Place them like this. Yeah, that'll work. When I place this right. I work when I place this right. Well, so it's nice having you to listen to while I set up my streaming laptop. Thank you, Laura. Place that here. Place this one here. Hang on, where did I put that? Did I align that? A little more centered. I can do it that way. I can do it on the line. Well, that's not right at all. And that'll be our turbo fuel output, and that goes down. Into there. $18.75. 150. That's 300 in each of these. These didn't need to be Mark IIs at all. So this is the logistics for this floor. The next floor up is going to be a little different because that's going to be regular fuel that's coming straight down. On top of that, we've got a bit of a complication where we've got a splitter that has to go right there. So it's kind of sitting between those pipes and clipping in a way that isn't fantastic. We have to load balance to these inputs up here. We have to do this twice because we have to do this for the fuel on the next floor up as well. pipes. Yeah, I fully encourage you to jump in and play again, Laura. Every time you revisit it, after taking a break, you feel like you've managed to work out some new ideas. And you can progress further than you did last time. So we are about 2 hours and 40 minutes in. Coming up on 3 hours. And I'm feeling a little bit fatigued on the fuel factory here. We've gotten our logistics over here kind of set up. I think we'll do the conveyors. We'll mock up a splitter that won't be the end product, but we'll be getting close to it. Probably gonna have that come through the center. Yeah. That's enough. And then I think we'll call it laid out. Oh, I haven't done these. What is the input rate on these? That is 22.5 fuel per minute. So 2 of these is 45. So once they combine back here, that's going to put them at 90, which is $90 coming through here is more than the Mark 1 belt. And 180 is going to be more than the Mark II belt. This is not meant to go anywhere. This is just meant to keep track of what belt we're using. looks good. So there's our mock-up of the logistics of this. This is fully load balanced. And should be pretty well organized. I'm not loving the slant on this. We'll do this. Should straighten that out a little better. Right. Just to clean up the look a little more. Make it look a little more organized. And we'll stick with the curves up there. I think that's fine. I think that works. We'll put a pause on that now. We've got the snapshot of what our basic plan is, and we'll head back. Start preparing to wrap up. Oh, we've got a vehicle to return. Gonna be a big skyscraper we've got working on here. I go the right way? Do I ever go the right way? I think I went too far. I don't think this is the right way either. Trying to get out of the blue crater in a vehicle. Why do I even drive over here? I have the zip line. The zip line makes it so much easier. Oh. Out of fuel. I think that's the first time I've ever had that happen. Vehicle actually runs out of fuel while I'm driving it unexpectedly. Beans. Oh, that was almost good. Alright, inventory unload. It's all of it. Let's see, we need computers, we need heavy modular frames. We have neither. Got a couple of computers. So we're not working on that. Let's take a look over here. Not doing anything with these anytime soon. Yep, so not really anything we're working on unlocking right now, so. I think we're good to just wrap up. 20 in-game days since the last death. Last incident. We'll save here. Exit to menu and find out who we're rating. Over to the ending screen. Let me see who's on my list. I'm not in game, Rena. You know, I think it's been a while since we've made our way over to Kimmy's side. So let's do a Kimmy raid. Rena.
Harvest.
Alright, so first raid out call is if you're not subscribed. Second raid out call is if you are subscribed. We are raiding over to Kim and Jax, who is currently playing Minecraft. Is she still working on... She is still working on Stone Block Floor. That Stone Block Floor. Yes, Stone Block 4. Which is... She's been making some great progress on it. It looks fantastic. So we're heading over there. The raid's gonna go out in a bit. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Everybody who's been hanging out, chatting. We will be live. Oh, I think we're starting... I think we are planning Phasmo for Friday for our collab stream. Because Squid is closing late, it's my understanding. We'll double check on that. And then we'll do our regular scheduled streams on Saturday and Sunday. But thanks for being here. See y'all next time.